Hello wonderful people, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel. The first one in a while, as many of you will have noticed and will know generally. And first thing that I want to say is I think you're going to be able to hear already at the beginning of this video that it might sound a bit boomy, the sound, and that is because I'm in my new place. I'm in my new flat and I haven't quite sorted everything out yet. There's nothing kind of plastered on the walls keeping the audio nice and good sounding, if you know what I mean. So it's all a bit bare. But got a couple of vinyl bits in the background here, which is quite good. Nice little touch in the background there, which I haven't had before. And yeah, this was an album that I just had to cover given the general reception of it in the last few days or so. So yeah, here we are. The debut 10-track collection project of music from Syzy, one of the very best and most important acts in the underground of bass music. We've got 10 tracks here, as I said, and it's a monstrous near 49 minutes long, which is quite something for a 10-track album. Look forward also on this video to seeing your comments on it in the comments section down below. Please do subscribe if you haven't already to the channel, and please do like the video as well. I have heard a couple of these already, I think, but I can't quite remember which ones, so you know, we'll get to that when we get to those particular tunes. I might remember. But yeah, we have the opener here. First up, Can You Keep Up? Wow. Wow. Can't stop saying wow. Really like the animation of this drop. Some really good sounds in there. Could maybe be a little bit fuller with the amount going on overall, but the electricity of it, very much there. Yeah, I like that. That little note progression. Animated start here to the LP. Kind of grabbing your attention in that, again, like electrifying way from the very off. Could have had a little bit more beef to it, just a bit more kind of grunge lying underneath, backing it up. But yeah, just some good, exciting, sparkly synth usage as well. Just opening up the LP, making sure you're locked in from the beginning. Gonna let the track run just to see what happens here. Yeah, a little bit of a tie into the next track we're getting here. Is that 4 U's? I Love You? Is that what that is? Very much appreciating the one drop situation as well for that opener. Not kind of overstaying its welcome with the heaviness, just kind of bringing you in with an introductory tune, but not an introductory tune that's like a minute and a half and it's just like a grand introduction to an LP or anything. It's got heaviness, it's got a nice lead in. Again, the synth usage is good. Could have had that bit more beefing up like I've been saying, but yeah, a good introduction to the LP and Syzy's sound, I think, with that opening tune. And now, next up, like I said, we have what I assume is I Love You with all the U's. There we go. Very sprightly, again, animated feel to this so far. I mean, that is Syzy's style in a big way, but I kind of imagine there might be something distinctively different from them at the beginning, but no, this is what they're all about. I'm appreciating that. Ooh, that's the beefiness I was talking about. There's a real gristle to that sound, which is lovely on the ear. Like, I don't think many producers can get that metallic clang like spot on, but design-wise, that is not the most like enthralling or, you know, out there innovative ideas that we've got so far, because we know Syzy can do it. But yeah, the depth of that sound, again, the clang of that sound, that's going to keep me going back to that for sure. Also, musicality-wise, I think with that drop we just got a bit of melancholy in there, and quite a resonance to that, kind of echoing and booming through the track, which is nice. Very sparkly, very dreamy synth usage so far that we've got in these opening 2 cuts. These kind of sections are just masterfully put together. A lot going on to build that atmosphere. Very crunchy, but also extremely fresh. You know, you might usually associate crunchy with like dark and stodgy and all that kind of thing, but this has got that bright, glistening feel to kind of give it that shine. I don't think the ideas need to be that complex given that, because the sound overall just sounds so good and again resonant, but I do think there will be a couple of people who are maybe looking for ideas that are a little bit more innovative, a little bit more creative. I suppose maybe streamlined is the word, if you know what I mean in that respect. Like an idea that just goes in a particular direction, doesn't have that much taking it down different avenues and stuff like that. Like just bits of spontaneity or unpredictability, just going mostly in one direction. And given how highly regarded this collection of music is, yeah, there might be some out there that are wanting a little bit more, ingenuity just from what we've got here so far. But the quality of the sound design, the idea not particularly complex, but just sounding very good on the ear, and sometimes that's all you need. Really good production and sound and synth usage. But yeah, next up we have one of the singles that was dropped before the album came out in full, to my knowledge, Get a Grip with Neonix. Let's get it. I think this might have been one of the ones I've heard already, actually. Would make sense, wouldn't it? Very nice opening, melodically. Again, the sound choice I like. Oof. Yeah, okay. Oi, bit of a dynamic with the idea. Come on then, come on then. I like this one, really enjoyed the introduction, musicality, again very animated, on its feet feel, continuation of that into the pre-drop moment, heaviness there, just again crunchy but fresh. It's weird because the idea feels a little bit, not sluggish, but sloth-like, if you know what I mean. Just a little bit, trudging along, but it's still just got that really water glistening kind of effect on it. Do you know what I mean? Like that level of fresh, that kind of level of fruity and colourful in the synth usage. Really, really nice on the ear. Oi! Oi! Mile and away my favourite drop on the LP so far. That was lit! Yeah, this is the track of the LP so far. Enjoying this collaboration a lot. Introduction with the musicality, with the main motif of the track. Repeated and maintained across the entirety of the tune. Really, really good in interlude sections, in pre-drop moments. Effective way of keeping the attention of the listener, having them remember that bit, and then it, the way it comes back in, just that's expertly done. The main heaviness we get in maybe the first 2/3 of the tune. I think some people, again, they might be like, there's not a lot going on here, a little bit inactive with the concept, with the idea, but the sound is so fucking fresh yet again. Just a super glacial feel to it. I feel like it's like reflecting off glass, it's providing some kind of mirror, it's all kinds of lovely and gorgeous and fruity. And then that final drop is not only my favourite on the album so far, it's not only one of the best that I've heard this year so far, but it's also definitely up there with the best I've heard from Syzy as well. Maybe in my top 3 or 2 Syzy drops ever, my personal favourites. So yeah, the way that track finishes is absolutely elite. I would also put it up there with the best material that I've heard from Neonix, who, lest we forget, featured on that tune in collaboration as well. Top track, definitely my pick so far. But next up, track number 4, we have In Your Face. Ooh. Very nice swing and a little bounce and a hop and a skip to this one. By the way, sorry if the chair is creaking, I can't actually hear because I've got my headphones on, but if it's making a noise, I apologise. But a man's gotta move about to this music. This is very halcyon vibes, would fit straight in with slotting right into that label, no doubt, no question about that. Yeah, very much enjoying the lead-ins that we're getting into the following tunes on this LP so far. The transitions are smooth, I like them. But yeah, sparing a couple of moments for that tune, In Your Face, track number 4. Not one of my favourites on the LP so far, I'd have to say. I think melodically, musicality-wise, again, sound choice-wise, it is very, very good, and, you know, leaning towards dire kind of material with that Disney step over musical, over melodic kind of vibe, which is very good. Again, it's very pretty. But yeah, the heaviness, I thought the first one, it had a good weight to it. That swing was very good. Gave it a bit of momentum, gave it a bit of bounce and a swagger, that kind of thing. Lacking distinctly, I think, a bit of flavour. It felt a little bit too industrial, that first drop we got there. A little bit hollow without any kind of real flavour kind of laid over the top to keep it exciting and keep it flashy, if you will. The second drop I did enjoy for its jagged feel, a little bit more rough and kind of harsh in a good way, if you know what I mean, like kind of catching you off guard with how jolty it was, with the note placement being very clever. But again, I think maybe lacking a spark, you know, more exciting than the first drop. It's a decent level up, but not quite pushing into that, you know, super memorable and attention grabbing heaviness that I think Syzy can go for. But next up we have Kamo in collaboration for Heart 1, 2, 3. Okay, 5 minutes, bit of a stealthy one, let's get it. A little bit of a tone change for the album, not quite as overly heavy. Vocals nice, got a bit of an indie emo pop kind of flavour to it, and that fluttering kind of shimmering effect of the heaviness is beautiful. I love that, very nice. That snare, ISO EXO vibes. Big fan of that, big fan of that. Gosh, where's it going to go from here? Not even halfway through this tune, so wonder how it's gonna unfurl and develop. Yeah, I think with that vocal from Kamo, I imagine, it's very nice to see this song be drawn out a bit, have a proper midsection, rebuilding, that kind of thing. It's good. Again, it's heaviness that is very well produced, and does a very good job of having, again, that gristle but that pure freshness to the sound overall. Sonically fantastic. The ideas, I'm kind of like, not a lot going on here. Conceptually, not too much going on. But I have to say, for the vocal alone, it's definitely a tune that I can imagine getting used to a lot more, growing on me a lot more over time, kind of going back to it. I mean, this is an album that I'm going to hear a lot of times start to finish. So I imagine that this one in particular, with that vocal, very catchy, very sweet, almost cartoonish, very youthful vibe to it. Yeah, I can imagine that one is gonna rub off on me a fair bit over time. Really enjoy how drawn out that track is as the longest track on the LP so far, and the vocal fantastic. Really enjoy the sound usage yet again. Don't think we've had a track here where I haven't been, you know, not blown away, not completely blown away, but just like, wow, that's very good. Really enjoying the sounds that are being used there, the production of them as well, which is extremely important. Drops wise, heaviness wise, I think I am looking for something a little bit more maybe forward thinking or inventive or clever at some point soon. And following that, at track number 5, we have Take My Energy, again with an exclamation mark at the end. I'm enjoying the exclamation mark usage. It just gives it that little bit more, you know, perkiness, the album overall. That's the We Love You sample coming back in again from I Love You. earlier on in the LP. Album artwork also fantastic, by the way. Love the simplicity of it. Syzy just stood in the middle there. Clean, good colouring, even though some people might say there's no colour in that. I don't give a shit. More good musicality. It's a madness. Some of these little lead lines, melodies, whatever you want to call them, they're mad catchy. Mad catchy. Syzy out here telling stories with the music. Oh, I think I might have heard this one actually. I recognise that little trudging in the background. Wee. Yeah, this is definitely another one of my picks so far. Very catchy but simple. Just doing, you know, pop dubstep blend perfectly well with those little vocal chants happening in the background. Top stuff. Yim, 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 yim. That's how you do the songwriting. Fuck it out, mate. Excuse me ever so much. Ooh, little key change. It's reminding me of everything I loved about, well, and still love, about Visions of the Leo by Leotrix. Is 2021 was it? Disciple EP, one of my favourite EPs of this decade so far. This is just exactly what future riddim music should be. Just sensational. I mean, really, the only other thing it could have had is a main vocal, just kind of pushing it forward a little bit more, giving it that little bit more pop influence and flavour to make it that bit more catchy. But that might have taken away from the heaviness, because now what we have without a vocal is a drop that really takes centre stage and provides that real focal point, that fulcrum for the track overall, and that's sensational. I mean, that heaviness, again, that is just how you do simple. No more notes based on, or off the back of what I already said about that track. Yeah, just top. Big fan of that, and just excited to hear it again, which says it all really. Next up we have Caught Up, in parentheses, in circles. Let's get it. I can see now, almost 7 complete tracks in, that Syzy is trying to create a world, you know, a particular aesthetic and essence with this LP that is permeating the whole thing. The picture is being painted without question. A first listen is never the most rounded take, but I'm noticing patterns. I'm establishing connections between the tracks we've got here so far, and I'm loving the aesthetic. Again, it's a simple idea, it's going in one direction for the most part. There are bits of unpredictability, but again, it's the sound usage and the production of those sounds, the way they're put together and made. Again, that little tag. Is that a classic Syzy tag that I just haven't picked up on at all? Not quite as, you know, pinpoint and exacting with the melody here. Feels a little bit more random, a little bit more scattered, a bit more arbitrary. But, you know, still again, very, very nice and sound. Sonically, it's ticking the boxes. I feel like I'm in some kind of dreamland or dream world. You know, Syzy doing a very good job of creating that fantasy, if you will, that kind of, that painting that picture again, just, yeah, expertly. Oh, nice to have a relative moment of quiet and still. Oh, wow. Oh, beautifully managed. Kind of want to let it carry on, but I also... No, I should say a couple of things on that tune. I think that one, for me, with the heaviness, the musicality, just everything, or pretty much everything, most things we got in that tune, just feeling a little bit random, a little bit more scattered, not quite as refined and rounded, with the ideas and the lead lines, the melodies that Syzy was going for in that tune. There were definitely snippets, the dee-doo-dee-dee-dee, proper sparkly, again super animated. That's a bit of a theme permeating not only this LP but, you know, Syzy's discography. You could say on the flip side that with a track like that, it just helps bulk up the LP. They don't all have to be bangers, they don't all have to be memorable statement making kind of tunes. Sometimes you just need those ones that tide the LP over a little bit more, provide a little bit of respite, a little bit of a break, comparatively, relatively speaking, compared with everything else we get. So yeah, it could provide that function for the LP. I think that might become more apparent the more I hear the album in full and go back to it. But now we have Dope 1, track number 8, with All's Well. All's Well that ends well, I think is a saying. And will this track end well? Let's go. Very, very captivating vocal chopping and vocal play there. Ooh. Oi. Mate, where do I put my hands? Going on some proper early 2010 shit with that. This is sick. This is another favourite, straight up. Only a minute and a half in. Big fan. Nah, this one. Mate, the vocal chopping to open up was mad. I loved how that intro was drawn out a little bit as well, not short-lived in any way. That heaviness. It's almost like Brown and Gammon kind of flavour if any of you guys remember them. I mean, actually just remembering, was Brown and Gammon was one person? Was it Brown and Gammon? Mate, almost like Skrillex fucking Hey Sexy Lady kind of. Oh, I'm such a fan. I'm such a fan. Okay, not that much is going on, but you kind of like, maybe it's just a nice little chilled way to wind the track down, given the madness that we got before in the first half of the first drop. Nice little flute in there, why not? Bit of flutage. I mean, the arrangement, the assembling of all those sounds that were going on, but then also the sound choice, the kind of gurgly, almost yoy sounds that we were getting to kind of complement the mad vocal chopping we get in the introduction and the midsection. The second drop, definitely can see some people saying, yeah, a bit of a letdown, could have scaled up and just gone a level up on that first drop and kind of taken it just even, you know, even higher, even more crazy, even more wild with the sounds that we got in that first drop. Just toning it down there with a bit of a trappy sequence that mostly, for the most part, ends the cut. But yeah, again, conversely, just a nice way of winding the track down as a kind of counterpoint. So yeah, a good tune, another one of the best for me, one of the top few that we have heard on the LP so far, with a couple left. And on that note, penultimately, we have track number 9, Experience. Again, parentheses, higher. I mean, whether it quite veers into being a concept album, I'm not sure. But yeah, the aesthetic, the vibe, the magical feel, very much there. Can't remember the one earlier on in the album that again had that weighty industrial feel, but not so much flavour on top. This has reminded me of that a little bit. I'm really impressed by the pacing out of a lot of these tunes, how enduring they feel. Again, the attention to detail when it comes to atmosphere building. Have we heard it to this level in this way from Syzy before? Have we got multiple 5-minute cuts from them, a 7-minute cut from them before? The machine is fully whirring away. This is proper, like, this section didn't have to be this long, but this is really building tension, again, lobbing the listener right into that particular picture, that atmosphere, that world. It's very well formulated, and there could have been a lot more hasty decision making with this kind of thing, but it's well mapped out. Feels like the beginning of Welcome Reality. Like, there's a lot of different influences going on across this LP, as I've mentioned before, but this to me feels like the most kind of masterfully and carefully crafted. This is one of my favourite sections on the LP, I'm not going to lie. I feel so immersed right now that I felt like I almost kind of went into a complete, like, kind of hypnosis, or like a fucking... I was entranced, that's the perfect word for it. I was so immersed in that image and that world that, yeah, had me in a trance-like state for sure. God, what an interesting tune. And I said my piece on the drop that we got after the 2-minute mark, maybe, or was it 1.5 minute mark? You know, didn't have quite enough flavour, quite enough excitement to it for me, but you know, this is a track I'm going to find myself going back to a lot more just because of this section we've got right here. And I'm just going to keep rolling on into the final cut of the LP, which is Dancing on My Own. There are catchy moments in pretty much all of these tunes, maybe barring a couple, but some of these introductions, man. I mean, this is already miling away for me Syzy's best work. Listen to how much is going on here. How well it's put together. Died down a little bit now. Curious as to where it's going to go. Still got 3 minutes of this track left. Very catchy, sticking in my head, mad infectious, can't deny it. I mean, the design, honestly, more of an underwater feel with this one. Really nice again, like glistening, shimmering feel to it. More of a collage-y feel as well to that track, compared with tracks before it in the LP. Yeah, with that one, the memorability coming from that a more kind of pretty touch for the track compared to, again, the catchier heavy moments we get in the ones before, tying up different influences that have come previously with the 9 tracks elsewhere on the album. So yeah, a clever ending there, just to give it that hazy, almost nostalgic kind of quality, drawing the album to a close, the debut Syzy album, The Weight of the World, which I have to say, having only heard it once, has got quite a lot of good going for it. It's quite rare that I say that, because on the first listen through, you're kind of hearing it, you're giving a reaction in your head, and I'm doing it here as well. Not the best environment for kind of having a rounded take, and that is going to come when I hear it maybe a few times more. But really, well and truly, from this first listen, this is for me miling away Syzy's best project so far, saving a lot of their best music for this LP. Seriously impressive, and yeah, like I said, just lots going for it. Again, I've only heard it once, but I'm loving the theme of it, the aesthetic that permeates the whole thing. Loads of the drops are really good, and in particular for me, which tracks was it that I really enjoyed? I think it was Get a Grip and Take My Energy and Dope 1 in particular. Production's really good across the LP, given what kind of music we're talking about here. Super aggressive, gristly, but also fresh sounding dubstep that is quite hard to make well, and it definitely is made very, very well again across the entirety of the LP here. Weren't really that many moments where I was like, you know, that's a bit flat, that doesn't quite work, that is ill-fitted within the context of the tune. Don't get me wrong, definitely a couple of moments where there could have been a little bit more flavour. The mechanical aspect of it just kind of rings true that little bit too much, a little bit too industrial, clangy, weighty without that much flavour and kind of spark and flashiness to go with that. Also ideas that just straight up don't provide all that much on the creative front. But I think every album of this kind, or just music overall, needs at least a couple bangers, like a couple of standout tunes to really like elevate the project overall, give it that good bit of personality. Just ones that people are going to really remember and want to go back to again and again. And this has at least, what, for me anyway, 3 or 4, which is, you know, a fair few. So yeah, good album. I think definitely one of the most impressive in bass music of this year so far. And as I've been saying, just looking forward to getting back into it. That is The Weight of the World by Syzy. Love to know what you guys think in the comments section down below. As I said at the beginning of the video, it's been very highly anticipated, highly regarded, so just looking forward to what everyone thinks of the LP overall, their favourite tune, etc. If you enjoyed this video and enjoy bass music coverage overall, then please do subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, it massively helps me out and doesn't cost you guys anything. So yeah, would massively appreciate it if this kind of music is your thing. My social media accounts and my Patreon are linked down below in the description if you want a bit more kind of exclusive content for a small monthly fee. I'd really appreciate you guys checking it out. But yeah, again, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one, whatever that might be. Peace.